Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. I'm going to be drawing some comics tonight, as per usual. So you can hang out, ask questions if you like. I'm going to be inking this page, basically finishing up the inks that I did the other day when I did that surprise stream on Tuesday morning. So I'll be working this one up. Yeah. Any questions, comments, anything, please drop it in the chat. Tag at Dave Raposa so I can see it easier. And I'll leave that chat here in the corner. I'll answer as I see stuff pop up if I'm not too zoned in on what I'm working on. For patrons and people, if you were looking forward to the review of the challenge that we just did, part 3 of that will be probably in the next couple days. I just got to see what night we have free to continue that review challenge. Challenge review. So yeah, look for that in the Discord. And I think that's it. If you want to help support this and you're not a patron, it's $5 a month, 2+ years of content. You can pay $5, get all 2 years of stuff, and then vanish from my life forever, and you'll be good. You can do that. The page up here in the top left of the screen is the one that I worked up last time. So that one is done now, and I'm moving on to this one, which I'm working on, which is the next giant montage page. So hopefully we make some significant progress on this one tonight. You know, that's the hope, is that this gets wrapped up relatively soon. I would love to get past these gigantic pages. Okay. I think I'm going to work on some of the filigree stuff. Maybe. Should I? Maybe I should just knock this guy out. Yeah, let's do the hard thing first. This page is all about the glory of the people of the world versus the god of that world, or goddess. So you see that goddess in the upper left? That was the page immediately before this one. And this page is about more or less how the people strayed from the goddess. So it's about mankind kind of taking over for her role, or starting to accept their greatness, take it for granted. What does her voice sound like? Oh, oh, hello. I don't know what her voice sounds like. One of those witch voices. Sir Daniel says, how do you come up with these illustrations? They're always so massive and eye-catching. I try and just think compositionally, really. Think of big shapes. Think of like strong poses. Simple stuff. I mean, it's all composition, really. And then I want the actual content of it to be cool, so I try and think a lot about just design when I'm doing it. I try and think of like character concepts ahead of time, so I'll usually have a design document where I do all that work so that I'm not just doing a bunch of guesswork. So a lot of these kind of complex character shots, these are all designs that I've worked out ahead of time. Not like super comprehensively, but I know the themes of their outfits, and I know the general shape language of everything so that I can kind of BS it when I get to this phase. Like I've drawn this character before, like this pose, which is sort of like just based on, you know, like classic myth stuff of the Firebringer and all that. So yeah, I do some basic layout things before and just kind of have some basic things like already in my head before I commit pen to paper. But it's not so much stuff where, you know, every line is planned or I know every single little thing that I'm going to be doing. I just like to have the theming and like the gist of everything in place so that I don't mess things up as I work it all together. Like I don't want to introduce an element that's going to, you know, run contrary to the story or what I'm trying to get across. Like I would never do like moon motifs in this because this is all about this, not like a sun goddess, but just like this goddess that brings life to this world. So I want everything to kind of feel very much in line with that type of vibe. The only thing that's difficult with stuff like this is if I spend too much time away from a project that has complex imagery, I'll sometimes forget what my sketches were. And that can be a huge pain in the ass when I like come back to this stage. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta ink all this. Like, what was that? Like, what did I even draw in that sketch, the thumbnail? So like I had that a little bit with this project because I started this so long ago that I just was like, crap, I can't even remember what that was supposed to be. But thankfully, like I said about those design docs, I had done all of that ahead of time. So even though that work isn't necessarily, you know, super comprehensive, like I was saying, it's enough for me to see it and go like, oh, okay, I get what I was going for with this sketch. Was I nervous when I got my first magic card? No, I wasn't nervous. I was excited. I felt like I don't know, like I was more thinking like, fuck, finally I did it. You know, like I achieved that big goal that, like my aim for so long was that. And then I got it and I felt great. And this was back in, gosh, it's got to be like 2008, 2009 or something like that. Long time ago. But I remember that. I remember feeling very accomplished. Hey Dave, have you ever read Framed Ink? The art is great, but a lot of skilled illustrators seem to have trouble taking advantage of the comic book format in terms of paneling. No, I've never read that. I mean, I don't really care too much. I mean, I'm more or less trying to do my own thing with it and then hopefully learn as I go. But I'm definitely not sticking to like super traditional panel layouts. I mean, obviously these are meant to be showcased like what do you call them? This music's so loud in my ears. They're supposed to be like giant paintings in like a memory, like this lady's telling this story. So I try and be pretty purposeful with my comps in comics, and I try to be varied. And I'm a big fan of a lot of comic composition stuff. I have some of my favorites are like old school Little Nemo books. I have at least for what I'm going after. I like Meta Barons, and then I have obviously all the classics like Watchmen. I have like Tintin books. I look at all those things just for not inspiration, but just to see what other people do. So I don't really stick to like a Marvel Comics approach to comics, like very obvious style. Try and go with things that are a little bit different. Do you think it's fine to repurpose illustrations? Like if I take a portfolio illustration of a character I did, do a background for it, and crop it into a card art illustration? I mean, yeah, if it's your illustration, why not? If you feel like it works better in a different format, I mean, who's going to care besides you? You know, like I don't even think anybody would give a shit if I did that. Like, you know, it's not like people watch you when you do stuff and go like, hey, I remember when you posted that like this. That's against the rules. And nobody gives a shit. I think like one of the biggest issues an artist can have is thinking that anybody cares about them. And I don't mean that in like a nihilistic negative way. I mean that you should do what you like to do, because at the end of the day, it's for you. It's like, does this make you happy? Is this working in your favor? Is this, you know, is illustration coming out the way you want it to? It's like, then change it. You know, like people don't really care what we're doing. Worry so much about other people judging us for that kind of shit, and just at the end of the day, nobody cares. Just do what makes you happy, what makes sense to you. Especially when it comes to your personal work. And that's how you best serve yourself. Are your design docs sketches physical, typical? Are your design docs physical? No, they're not. They're digital. At least for this one it is. I do a lot of sketching and things in sketchbooks, but for the most part I like to keep everything collected in layers on a PSD file or something, because it's very easy to just flip through it as a reference while I'm working. It's a lot harder for me to have physical stuff and just have to be open to the right page and not be able to look at multiple pages at once without ripping my sketchbook apart. I like it in a very convenient folder, or a PSD rather. Have you heard of, I don't want to butcher that name, Shirahama? She kind of does something similar to your Baroque panels, but with stuff in the fantasy setting, like trees and the environment around the characters. I'll have to look her up. Have you seen the Power Rangers TMNT crossover comics? They're pretty cool. If you could do a crossover today, what two IPs would you combine in that delicious brain of yours? Well, thank you for the delicious brain compliment. Probably tastes like ham. I would do... I mean, I know what I would do. I would do the Guyver and Kamen Rider. Or Kamen Rider and Ghost Rider. Let's think. Oh, your other part of the question. Yes, I have seen that comic. I think Dan Mora was working on it, if that's right. I'm pretty sure. I might be messing up the name. If that's the right person. If it's what I'm thinking of, then the artwork for that was actually very good. You bet brain is bland? Wow, come on, you haven't tried my brain. I give great brain, is what I'm saying. Only one meaning to that. Somebody was asking how I get around the multicolor effect with this brush. I just turned off color jitter on the brush settings. Honestly, whenever I need to figure that stuff out, I'm like, oh, I need to turn off color jitter. I don't remember how to do it in every program because I use too many programs. So I can't tell you off the top of my head how you do it, but I always just look it up. I just look up a YouTube video how to change brush settings. Also, my memory is kind of shit. So I'm usually looking stuff up. What happened to the music? It shut off. It's just a long end to a song. It's like, what is that? Okay. Trying to stay pretty zoomed out of this one so that I can control how much detail I'm using. You want to make sure your stuff reads like that you can tell what's happening from a distance, like at the actual reading distance. If you stay super zoomed into everything you're doing, then you detail like that, and that's bad. You don't want it to read like a big old mess of little itty bitty lines. And I should know because I used to do that all the time. Trying to decide how much of this I want to flip horizontally and save myself a million years. Like I could flip this torso, but it might look shitty. The thing that you have to do if you're going to do something like this is make sure that you really sorry, trying to get the right tool, is that you really do a good job painting over the side that you flipped so that it doesn't look so samey, because that can look bad. See. Well, that's not what I wanted. It's so weird. I don't know why. I don't know why Krita does that. Does anybody know? Yeah, it does that for me like pretty often. Like, how come when I press the delete button, when I make a selection, it deletes everything? And not just the selection. Anybody know? That drives me crazy. Is it like a setting I have to turn off? Like, look at that. Oh, that one worked. That's weird. How come sometimes it works? But yeah, like 9 times out of 10, my thing does that. And I go like, what the fuck is that? Okay, that's enough. Whoops. Any tips on how to use this brush? Honestly, the best thing I can say is to just stay consistent with it and keep on playing with it and trying to figure it out, because I'm doing nothing different than I was when I first started using it. You know, like I wasn't like some completely different artist. It's just that to get the little nuance of it and get used to how it works, you just kind of have to think a little differently about it. I mean, it's just kind of the same deal as learning a new bit of software, with the exception of Procreate. I still haven't learned that. I haven't done that shit. Forgot to erase that part. But yeah, like it's just like a little bit of a learning curve. I mean, it probably took me like almost a year of using it to get to a place where I felt super comfortable doing like full inks. Backspace is fill. Did you hit fill by accident? Oh, is backspace fill? I just hit delete on my keyboard, but it did both. It filled and it deleted this section, so I don't know. If you hear all that clicking in the background, that's my dog wearing her high heel shoes. It drives me crazy. It's a 16-year-old dog back there, going click clack, trying to find her way to a sitting position. I think she just got nervous that I was talking about her. I just heard her licking her lips. Sorry if I'm a little quieter than usual. These pages are much harder to do because they're so complex. And there's a lot of things going on in every one of these panels, so I'm trying to make sure that I keep a nice balance going on. I'm getting what I want to get down, and staying consistent with the lighting. Not everything needs a ton of focus for me, but certain stuff does. I am in the garage. This is actually coming out fairly successful. I don't know what I was expecting, but I kind of thought this would be shit. I think maybe I was just running out of steam last time I worked on this. Because last time, every time I started inking it, it was just coming out kind of bad. I was like, ugh. I'm also not super worried about this being like the best, most amazing thing I've ever done in terms of like, is this an, perfect drawing? I am more concerned with doing a good job and making sure that it's readable and that there's a mixture of like classic inking and painting, and that I have the style down, because all this art is in service to that little short story. So as long as it's all conveyed, I'll feel good. I don't need to spend a million years inking the whole thing, like, obsessively getting everything perfect. I don't really care about perfect. I like imperfect, and I like having it be serviceable, and obviously I'm trying hard to make cool compositions and good reads, but I want to do my version of like a Mike Mignola thing where I just imply a lot with thick ink, and but obviously mine's way more classical, fantasy looking. But the same idea. I'm not trying to overdo it too much. Which I know for some people you might look at the amount of detail that's here and be like, what do you mean you're not trying to overdo it? You're already overdoing it. But you don't understand what I would do if I wasn't making myself do this. I would overdo the shit out of it. So I have to make myself simplify things. Am I? Yeah, I'm familiar with Olivier. I don't know how you say that name. I'm too smart to pronounce names. Do I ever get the problem in Krita where when I start drawing it's like 2 inches or so below where I'm trying to draw? No, I haven't actually. So I came across album art of a gold lich with ears on Spotify and realized that's the band Laserhawk Dave's been talking about. Yeah, that's the album that and we can listen to that. It's been a while. Yeah, let's listen to that. Let's give Laserhawk a shout out. So yeah. For anyone unfamiliar, that's the album that was based off of the comic book that I was going to be working on years ago called Skull and Shark. So I contacted Laserhawk and I asked him if he'd be interested in collaborating with me on making like a track for a little trailer. And then, you know, we became friends and we started talking all the time. And then he was like, you want to just do a whole album? And I was like, absolutely. So then I sent him the script and then he made an album out of it. And then we just went back and forth on what songs were cool for like a few months. And that's what the Skull and Shark album is on Laserhawk Spotify if you want to check it out. Dave, I'm 27 and just started pursuing art. Is it too late for me to reach my dreams of being a trading card game illustrator? No, for sure not. Absolutely not. I know plenty of artists who started super late. Speaking of comics and comic artists and all that, Coderink's in the chat. What's up? You should all check out Kings of Nowhere if you have not. He's also got his own Patreon too. He has his nudes on there in lewds, and he takes requests. What are my thoughts on Superbad's phallic art? I think it's the best. It's incredible. Man, art sucks. Look at this bullshit. Just drawing this big hunky guy with big fireballs. What am I doing with my time? I mentioned this on a thread on Twitter today, but there's a funny thing that happens in game design a lot, and I'm just more speaking to hunky dudes, but a lot of my concepts are very, like, I wouldn't say they're flamboyant, but I definitely lean towards, like, I don't know, I don't shy away from anatomy, I'll just put it that way. So like when I do like concepts for games, I don't even mean to, but so often I draw form-fitting suits around dudes' butts, and every single time my suits get shot down, and we need to start a petition in a GoFundMe to make sure that those butt suits see the light of day. I've just realized that not a single one has ever made it past the initial sketch and submission phase. Has not happened. And I'm sick of it. They're like, guys who play these games don't want to look at Spider-Man's butt crack the whole time. And I'm like, you don't know that. You couldn't possibly know that. Form fit the butt. That's what I'm saying. It's part of the anatomy. Yo, Dave, how many more pages until I can buy this? Not that much. Like 20, 22? Not 20, 10. 10 or 12. Something like that. I'm deciding whether or not I want the last page to be a spread page, because I do have it all sketched out, but I was looking at it and I was like, I don't know. I kind of want to make it like a bigger punch than it currently is. I think when I was sketching it, I was doing that thing that you do when you've been drawing too many comics, where you're just like, I just want to be done. Like I just want to be done with this fucking page, or get me to the end of this. So then you start to compress panels more and more as the pages go. So I think I did that in this, and I'm gonna remedy it. So it'll probably be like 22. League splash art always looks cool and crisp with the round brush. I want to achieve that, but I enjoy using my textured brush, and the result was different. Any suggestion? I mean, don't. If you need to do that work, then obviously, when in Rome, use a round brush. But I don't think you need to do that. I think that's just their current art direction, whatever. I'm trying to think. I've seen people not do that. Have you looked at Six More Vodka's portfolio of League stuff? That stuff's pretty textured in a lot of pieces. They did a bunch of art for Rune Terra. If you haven't seen their work, I'd go to their website and check it out. Six More Vodka's portfolio is nuts. That's my buddy Marco Durjevic and his team over in Berlin. We gotta have Marco on. One of these days, we absolutely have to do that. Maybe I'll plan that for like a day stream or something, because I don't think he's awake yet right now. It's the problem with living so far away from friends. You just never talk to them. But yeah, I'll try and get Marco on a stream. We talked about doing it for so long. We were gonna do like a series and whatever, but we're both the same kind of person who says they're gonna do something and then gets busy with 50 million other things and never does any of it. Yeah, Marco did the... Marco was the one who really kind of... I mean, this might be insulting to some people, but I think he really upped the Marvel Comics cover game back in the day. All his covers were nuts. But yeah, I've known Marco essentially since I was like, God, like 20, 21. I'm 36. And I don't think I've talked to him in like a year. You can ask Marco what his opinion is on AI, and he'll just tell you to stop being a pussy. Like, guaranteed. We should take bets. I bet he'll say that. If you know him at all. And I'll ask him, remember that I said that. And wait till we have him on and ask him the AI question. I can almost guarantee it'll be something like that. Or it'll be shut the fuck up. Or something like that. He always gave great advice on being afraid of stuff. He wouldn't be wrong, though. Oh, that's what it was. There's 152 people in here. Hello. Let me clear the room a bit. My dog, my 16-year-old dog's asshole is starting to stink, and it is driving me crazy. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Like anal glands. It's horrible. And I'm sitting here in this tiny room, and I'm just fucking sniffing that shit. Wacom, for the love of God. What? You've never heard of this? It's very true. Spike says, I'm happy to announce that I got my first trading card game illustration. I just want to thank you for being an inspiration. Hey. Well, I don't know what I did, but I appreciate you letting me know that in some way I helped. But that's great for you. You work hard, you get good results. It's not easy. Okay. Okay, the hard part is out of the way. Now it's time to do the easy shit. It's time to do all the filigree. Get in here. Start making stuff up. Start doing some Baroque statues. Like rotten, oh no stink, or enlightening, I didn't know stink. I don't know. It just is. It's like hell stink. It's like if just low tide came in. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I know what you're thinking. Just throw away that dog and get a new one. But I can't, because I have children, and the children love the dog. If Starvale was a movie, what sort of music would go with it? It's a good question. I don't know. It'd have to be pretty weird. I definitely wouldn't want it to be anything normal. I'd want it to feel very 70s sci-fi-ish. Lots of like soundscapes and stuff. But nothing corny. Like an earnest version of that. Like, you know, and I don't mean scared stupid. I mean like my least favorite thing about retro stuff is that they try and go for ironic shit. And I would want it to be 100% serious 70s soundscapes. Think like Tangerine Dream or something like that. They might do the soundtrack if you know, that was an option. Am I ever going back to doing more fan art? I do it like occasionally just to test out style stuff or textures and paintings and whatever quick method to paint. I'm very particular when it comes to music for stuff. Like I pretty much know exactly what I want it to feel like. Like this song that's playing right now was the first one that I worked with Laserhawk on, and it was very specific, like how we wanted it to be. Like the feeling of it, like leading up to this big like explosion and all atmospheric and kind of gothic and kind of like an old game and arcadey, but Escape from New York-ish, but also like a horror movie. There's a lot of things like going into it. And, you know, when I have the time to devote to a project, it's like I would love to get into all of those if we were ever doing like a movie. I was talking like forever ago with the dude who directed Hobo with a Shotgun. We used to talk, and one of the things that we talked about was doing a Skull and Shark movie. We were never like super serious about it, but we needed to actually have the comic and stuff to sell it. In the future, though, that'll be a thing. I mean, I don't know if it'll be a movie, but it'll be a thing that it can't exist. Do you storyboard and write with music on? I find having epic or orchestral music gets my mind going. I do. I definitely do that. I mean, I more come up with like broader concepts listening to music. So like if I go for a walk, like I used to do this all the time. Like this comic here is that. Like I would listen to music and walk around and just think of like concepts or like a feeling of a story rather than literal beats and things. And I'd see like some stuff playing out in my head, but I wouldn't write it to music, because the thing that happens to me with dialogue is if I'm listening to music, it can influence the dialogue, and like it might sound good in my head while the music's playing, but on a page without any of that context, it can feel kind of corny sometimes. So I find that like I can come up with the ideas listening to music, but then when I refine things, I need to just kind of I need to like listen to like what I do is I'll listen to like thunderstorm sounds like for sleep, and then I'll just leave that on with like noise canceling headphones and just write to that. And writing dialogue that way kind of helps me get out of that like corniness or sameness that I might have heard in like a movie. You know what I mean? Like you start almost thinking in like moviness when you're listening to music. At least I do. So I try not to do that as much as possible. And I don't mean corny in a cool way. I don't mean corny like Van Damme punching out a cobra or whatever. Like Hard Target. Like that's cool. That's genuinely cool. If you can do that, then awesome. I'm more talking like I feel like I regurgitate things I've heard when I listen to music for whatever reason. Is that TV show with Dan still going on? Hey, we'll see. If you want to see something cool, God, what's your name? I can't think of the. Here, let me actually pull it up. Here, let me pause the music and watch this. This is Jason Eisner, who is the director of Hobo with a Shotgun. He made this short reel. It's a tone reel for Casey Jones movie. So we're going to watch this because it's awesome and it's really short. It's 1 minute and 46 seconds, so it'll go by quick. But yeah, check this out. This is the kind of thing that I'm into for like Skull and Shark. Like if I could have anything, it would be this type of tone, and Jason like totally gets it. Yeah, let's watch.
Casey Jones. My friend.
Find him.
Anyways, that rules. And that's how you should sell your ideas, by the way, because it's way more effective than trying to explain them. Anyway, that's pretty much exactly what I want Skull and Shark to feel like. Just a little darker. I probably watched that like a handful of times when he put that out. He showed it to me like a while ago. He has this other reel that he didn't release that's the same sort of like a just a feeling. Oh my god, it was so fucking cool. I can't remember what the name of it was, but man, it ruled. I wish I could tell you and pull it up. It was on his private like Vimeo, but it was the same sort of deal as that Casey Jones one, but it was way more like not like post-apocalyptic, but like it was way more of the feeling of like a Escape from New York or something like that. It was awesome. But he makes really good, like, I don't know what you call those, flavor reels. It's great. It's Jason Eisner. So if you can look that up, just search like Casey Jones. I mean, you can search Casey Jones Hobo with a Shotgun and you'll find it pretty quick, but if you can't spell it, but Jason Eisner. Casey Jones. It's on a Vimeo link. Very good. Yeah, that song's great. Yeah, Black Rain has some really good shots in it. If you've ever watched Black Rain, I actually make reference to that in the Garfield hentai comic that I was doing. If you ever seen the one where John shoots at the dude with on the motorcycle who has the little blade, that's that guy from Black Rain. Also, on the Black Rain soundtrack, if you ever want to see where or listen to where the Dark Knight soundtrack comes from, just listen to that shit, because it's like one for one. Oh yeah, you're right. I didn't make the Garfield hentai. That was a found comic. I did not make that. Do not come after me. Do not cancel me. It's not even that offensive. Yeah, later, dude. Thanks for hanging out. This is the Sketching Chrome Thin Brush in Krita. And now I want to watch that. I want to watch that Casey Jones trailer again. That's so fucking cool. Those shots where he's like covered in blood, like spitting in the air and training. Like, oh. I wish somebody would make that movie. That's so fucking cool. You know how well that would do? If it looked and felt anything like that little sizzle reel. Like, don't even say it's like don't even try and say it's Ninja Turtles. just let it be Casey Jones and let it just be all style and cool. And then let people find out, happy accident, oh, this is a Ninja Turtle movie. Yeah, I've watched F is for Family. It's good. I'm actually going to be able to finish this page tonight. At least the inks. That's exciting. I was hoping that would happen. This song was going to be my second trailer for Skull and Shark back in the day. It was gonna kick in at what was it gonna kick in at, like 30 seconds or something like that? I'm waiting for it. It's when the beat picks up a little bit more. It's coming up. But it was gonna open with a motorcycle flying by with like an Akira homage, except mine was gonna be a bat hitting an old lady's face with all her teeth flying across the screen. And having her like groceries go everywhere. And then it was just gonna be like a montage of all like the horrible people in the comic. It's very exciting. Here it is. And then like panning up shots of like bodybuilders covered in sweat and blood and wrestlers and all sorts of stuff, and then dancers and machine guns and those white dudes in Jackie Chan movies that just wear like big suits and know karate. Lots of stuff like that. Well, Skull and Shark was going to be the first book, but I honestly couldn't, like, you know when people say like me, like you don't do that thing where you put off projects for too long. Skull and Shark I legitimately wouldn't have been able to ever finish for what it is. It's like it was like an 80-page script. I do feel well equipped to do it right now. Just need to refine the script. It's very like, it's not like juvenile or anything like that. It's fine, but I've learned so much about writing since then. I just want to make sure that it has arcs and it feels good and moves at the pace I want. a style like this would be kind of what I would go for on Skull and Shark. It would have a similar vibe. It would just be slightly more painted, but I mean, I wouldn't stray too far from this. I mean, I can accomplish so much of the same feeling from those old paintings with this style. Like, I don't really need to do too much to this. Like, I've already done tests of it, and it works exactly how I want it to work. But you don't put pen to paper until you have a story that you really like. So that's all that's left, and obviously time. Because Starvale is pretty much done. I just need to do the final draft of it. And that would be ideally what I want to do alongside the next Steve Lichman book, because that's pretty much good. Really happy with Steve Lichman 3. I think, like, it's kind of crazy just to be working on that again and see the huge leap in, like, quality and in the way we're able to do stories now, because I felt like we didn't really know what we were doing in the first 2 Steve books. So that's kind of funny. It just comes way more naturally. Like, we just can write very easily in that book. So it's kind of a bummer to, like, look back, be like, gosh, people have to get through the first 2 books. I mean, like, people like the first 2 books, but, you know, for me personally, I'm like, oh, we're gonna need people who've read those to get into this one. Where this one, I feel like, is the best one. But yeah, gonna do Steve Volume 3 while wrapping up Starvale. And then I'm gonna release this probably like the beginning of the summer for like a print release. And that'll help kind of fund the other projects. And then if I'm really desperate for cash, I'll put out Miss Lasagna Volume 1. Later, Riley. Am I still repped by Jim Eric? Yep. Absolutely am. Alright, let me save this. And then I'm going to mute my screen here and open it up in Photoshop after it saves. All right. Okay. It's a couple small things, but not much. All right, let's do that. All right, I'm hidden. Yeah, after I wrap this up, I'm just gonna call it. Yeah, I can show my screen again. So I think I actually finished this page in, I think in 2.5 hours. That's pretty good. I did everything on stream. So that's a 2.5 hour ink page. That's great. That means that if I did this all day, every day, I could finish this book really fast. Wish I didn't have to make money. What's my going rate for license commissions for a page like this? I don't know. I'd have to really think about that. You have to like quote yourself differently on certain things because, you know, you got to be like, oh yeah, you're not paying for, you know, like just the time anymore, because if you end up getting super fast at something, then you're more or less, you have to charge differently, like per piece. Because it's like, yes, you can do these things fast, but you don't get paid like you do these things fast. You get paid for the quality you put out. So day rate I only really use when I'm doing a bunch of stuff for a company. Hey, I BS that circle all right. I'll probably make it a bit more accurate when I move it back over into Photoshop. Okay. Let's see if I'm missing anything. There's so many details in here. I'm just trying to find where everything is. Okay, there's some loose spots. I feel pretty good though. Hey, that was successful. I didn't talk as much, but I did finish the page. Oh, what a relief. Now I can do the next one. I can spend a ton of time on the next one. Next one's a bit harder than this one. It's okay. Hey, yeah. If you want to help support this comic, Patreon link is in the description below. 2+ years of content, all for $5. Download it all and then delete your Patreon. You can have it all. I just want to make sure that everybody, you know, can learn what they can if there's anything to learn from me. And I don't care to make a bunch of money off it. I got a lot of my education for very cheap or even free. So yeah. Could I check through my brush settings? How do you, yeah, let me like actually remember how to do it live, because I don't. Is it this? Okay. Here are my brush settings. Painting mode? Build up. No, it wasn't that. I can't remember where they put the color shit. I mean, but feel free to just look through this and then... Oh, I think it might have been in here? Maybe? I mean, I can tell you because I think I have the other one. This is the... I want to say this is the one that has the colors. So what's different about this one? It's a mystery. Random RGB. That's what I thought it was too, but I didn't see it anywhere. I mean, I didn't see that it was checked on the one that was working. Yeah, I'm self-taught. I just taught myself through shit online that I found, and you know, forums and things. There was a pretty small amount of artists that had like educational material out when I started, but you have all the old masters and everything, Loomis and whatnot, so that stuff existed. And then there were some other things on certain websites, like what was that one that used to give out like gold awards? It was like CG something. Not CG Hub, the one before that, the one that was, what was that site? It was the one that looked like official. It looked like ArtStation way before ArtStation and way before CG Hub. Anyway, there were places like that where you could learn. So that was like my occasional digital art stuff that I'd learn from. But for the most part, I just used old stuff. CG Society, that's right. Yeah, that was a while ago. CG Talk. But yeah, if you haven't yet, you should subscribe. I'm going to be doing these the same time every Thursday, but then also I've decided that like if I do have any time on Mondays or Tuesdays, I'll probably hop on in the day to do comic work if I can. If I can't, then I'll, always be on Thursdays, but I'm going to try and do day streams whenever I can. And those will mostly just be like music. I probably won't talk in those because, I like to focus workday shit. But yeah. Thanks so much for all your support. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for the questions. I appreciate you all. Hope that you're well. And I'll see you next Thursday if I don't see you before then. All right, later, everybody.